Streaming is on.
So the focus is, I guess, payrolls, right?
Yeah, let's talk in pairs.
So the only other thing on here is worker involvement verification.
Sorry, these four participants, it's all you?
What?
These four participants, it's all you? I see four
What?
participants.
4 participants? What are you talking about? Where?
In our notes, there is anonymous otter, anonymous wolf, anonymous hamster. It's all you with different computers.
No.
Ah,
What that is?
interesting.
I'm only on with the one computer.
All right, interesting. Because I've noticed, like, one of our topic notes, there's somebody, I don't know, included some Arabic writings or something.
Okay. That's fine, and we can always, if needed, you can make them so they're not editable. Also, after the notes are done, we don't need them editable anymore. Either way, I'm not concerned someone messing with our notes. It's just, just notes. So.
Yeah, I know, but I don't know. I mean, it's weird. Maybe maybe it's just some of the team, but
The what?
somebody of the team, some, I don't know. See if somebody's online.
Well, didn't you just make these?
Yeah, I just made them. Yeah, there's four participants. I don't know. Weird. Anyways, let's go. I'm agree with the
It
topics.
says we have one person watching. So there's one person watching on YouTube.
Really? Wow, interesting.
I don't know, but I mean, I link our notes to the YouTube, so everything's linked and public, transparent, open. It's like the normal.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think these topics are good. It's a lot to get through, but I don't know how much time I have, but I should be able to get through at least like a half an hour to an hour. I mean, we'll see how far we get.
All right, let's start. All right, so topic 1, policies. So obviously, after the discussion we had on Discord, you made it very clear, and also I already updated the responsibility organizing to to make a communication the same way that we did for accounting support.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good. And so, do you understand why?
Yeah, absolutely, I do.
Yeah. So, why do we? Why am I concerned about it? And addressing it as an issue.
Because it's just an excuse not to do the work, right? All right, now it's the treasurer responsibility. We just follow up a little bit on the communication, but reviews and verification should always be prioritized and ideally scheduled. Absolutely.
So obviously, it's excuse not to do work, but there's another reason as well, in the perspective of myself and the treasurer and any executive.
Yeah.
Can you think of another reason?
Yeah. I mean, it's up to us to prioritize that this happens. Make sure that this happens. It's not that
Sure, technically, it's a worker responsibility, right? But like for me, this happens all the time. It's just like oh, Jay, you're supposed to do this, right? And then it's like everybody else is scheduling their buddy teams and working together and doing their things, and I'm working and helping them, and I'm scheduling all these sessions to help everybody. And it's like, oh yeah, Jay, did you do that thing yet? And it's just like, why wouldn't the executives and the treasurer and everybody work as a team as well? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So it's like everybody's working as a team, and like it doesn't make sense to say that those who have more responsibility and more skills have to work by themselves. That doesn't make any sense. Like why just because you have more skills and more responsibilities that suddenly you're working by yourself and no one's supporting you? I mean, this is why VA sessions even exist.
Yeah.
Because no one could care less about my work. All people cared about was their own. Right? And it's just like, oh yeah, Jay will take care of everything else. It's just like, no, that's unacceptable for people just to say that the people with the most responsibilities and the most work have to do it all by themselves, but people who have very little responsibilities get help and their hand held the entire way. I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. It's true. People work are constantly supported more work. Should work by himself. Doesn't make sense. Yeah, perfectly. I agree.
Also, there's a policy that says that in general, all transfers and money work, it happens, with support and team like that. You don't basically have people going off by themselves dealing with all the money, which is also one of our problems with the investments, is that it can be overwhelming, especially when you're doing transfers of tens of thousands of dollars, not to mention, losing thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, that it can be very emotionally overwhelming and taxing. And so it needs to be done as a team. That's also a responsibility, a policy, but it's not just the big transfers. Like all the transfers are important, like any financial transactions are supposed to be done with teamwork and or collaboration, verification, review, just like oversight, making sure that someone's not by themselves dealing with it all, right? And of course we haven't actually achieved that ever.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. Cool. Anyway, so are we basically saying this is not an issue anymore, that you agreed with me and that we're fine moving forward for the future? Because I mean, for me, this policy and the actual values that we're honoring here and what we're trying to achieve is basically applicable to the entire organization, is applicable to every single responsibility. All of the workers are supposed to be working together on every responsibility, and it's applicable to all the executive support and all of the treasurer work, like everything. Like there's just, these policies are applicable to everything. There's like really nothing that is not covered here in terms of, this is like foundational work models, right, for our team.
Yeah, I agree perfectly with you. I was confused with the responsibility organizing. I don't know where that originated, but now it's clear. I fixed it. I mean, I improved. I updated it, making it clear that it needs to be scheduled or prioritized at a topic, but it needs to happen real time.
So the only other question here would be in relationship to training and where this fits into the bigger picture of everything.
Yeah, I mean, related to the bigger picture, I want to have clarity on something, right? Because I don't know if you remember, or maybe I misunderstood, but we said that a couple of times, right? That within the payroll round, when the work gets to a point that needs the treasure, all right, needs the attention of the
You
treasurer.
mean running the payroll?
Yeah, or running the payroll, or I mean, if it's just when we get to running the payroll, okay. I thought that anything that needs the attention of the treasurer, like for example, now we are still in accounting, right? We are in the review and verification of the accounting, and we need to do the transfer to the wallets to meet the policies. We said that we can, while we make sure that this is prioritized and this happens, we can move forward with the next payroll process, like with the setup or calculation.
No,
or
again,
verification.
that's not the policy. The policy is anytime we
Okay.
have to, anytime the next step is out of our control, we can move on while we, while that is, I don't know, while the work is taken care of by another team or people or whatever, right? So
Mm-hmm.
the example of this that I gave was, 24-hour voting for HR board. So you did everything for getting the HR board voting proposal for the budget correct, all correct and verified, and now you send it out, and then you have to wait 24 hours. You can't continue to work on the budget for 24 hours because you have to wait for the voting period to be, and it's completely out of your control, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Got it.
Another example was like, when we send something to the government, right? You're basically, waiting for the government to get us verification and or a receipt or whatever. I mean, it's out of our control at that point. We don't know if there's going to be an audit. We don't know what else is going to happen. But when it is in our control, right? When you have the ability to schedule to run the payroll, like it just seems like it is in your control.
Okay. Got it. Mm-hmm.
If we can't schedule or we have it scheduled, so let's say you ask for scheduling, oh, can we schedule for 5 minutes from now or the top of the hour? And it's like, oh no, not available. How about tomorrow? Okay, how about tomorrow?
Uh-huh.
Sonic or whatever. So if it's currently Sonic, then that means you have 24 hours before the scheduled session.
Mm-hmm.
So then you have 24 hours, but that's after you did the scheduling.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right?
Okay.
You can't just skip the scheduling.
Okay.
But if the treasurer is ready immediately, then it's just like you go right into whatever the next step is and you get it done. Like the idea of just like, oh, we're just waiting around for someone else to do something because I don't want to do the work. It doesn't make any sense. Like that's not the policy.
Okay. Got it. Mm-hmm. That you schedule. Okay. Okay. This is clear now. Got it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Perfect. Okay. I make sure to communicate this to the team. It's clarification to the team. Very important. Perfect. Okay.
I have another idea that I want to share, but before I go into that, just to make sure it's really, really clear how the process for payroll works.
Mm-hmm.
Payroll process, you have accounting. Under accounting, there's two things that are happening. One is we are, notifying the team and treasurer for the amounts to transfer and getting, review / verification, right? And then two, we're scheduling for
Mm-hmm.
review as well as actually, conducting the transfers, right? And three, asking and considering async work. So async work is always in addition to scheduling, not instead of, ever. Does that make sense?
Can you repeat that, please?
Async work is not instead of scheduling. Async work is, always with scheduling, right? you do the async work with the scheduling, and then one of two things happen. One, the scheduling doesn't happen because we did the async work instead, or two, that the scheduled session takes 5 minutes instead of 35 minutes.
Okay. So can you make an example?
What do you mean an example? Like
For example, the running of payrolls, right?
Well, that's the next thing, running payroll. So when you run the payroll, a couple things happen. One, I mean, basically, you're doing a full review of the entire payroll process, right?
Mhm.
Two, you're scheduling, for the review, as well as, transfers and final transfers, any final transfers, and running payroll. And this obviously includes trust accounts, setup needed, right? And then 3, you've got asking, considering async work, always with scheduling, right? It's the same thing, right? Async work, and when we do async payroll, it's because it's in alignment with also wanting to schedule. Like every time I do async payroll, it's let's just say 80% of the time,
Mhm.
it's in correlation with scheduling. So for example, Mamoon schedules for Sonic, and it's like, okay, I have 20 minutes before dinner, maybe I should get started with this. And then I have dinner, and then I come back, and then Mamoon's a little late, and I finish it up, and it's 90% of it's done async, and then we check in, and then it's done. It's like we finished it.
Okay.
Right? But it's just like the idea that somehow there's just never any scheduling is just not part of the process. Like 99.9% of the time, payroll gets done because it's scheduled. That's how it gets done.
Mhm.
Right? And under our process, you can schedule for the accounting, but a lot of times we just schedule to run the payroll, and we do the accounting at the beginning of the payroll.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
A lot of times we'll schedule to run the payroll, and we'll realize that in the review of the payroll process, the accounting or something else was skipped, and we can't run it.
Okay.
That happens many, many times. That's happened like at least a dozen times where we scheduled to run the payroll, and it turns out
And
that
then we're not ready.
skipped,
Yeah.
and it's not ready, and the work needs to be either improved or updated, or something was actually done wrong. It needs to be redone.
Uh-huh.
Or was just missed entirely. So all of that is in the purview of the treasurer, right? Like that entire thing happens in teamwork, not by yourself. Like, so I don't, and this is how it's always been done. There's nothing new about this. I'm just not really sure what exactly we're talking about here.
Yeah, I get it. I was misunderstanding. Yeah, now it's clear. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, and then I had one other idea I wanted to share.
Yes.
So I'll go down to line 42 here. I have an idea of basically like a policies database. So this would be like a policy spreadsheet where we separate each policy into into as simple phrase or sentence, etc. as possible. Right. So basically, we try to just we can link more complicated information about the policy within the database, right? But the idea is you can have like a single spreadsheet that lists basically all policies that we have, that we actively are using, and so each policy would be one single line, and then you could sort by the type, you could have tabs or sort by the type of policy it is. And then from there, you would be able to, basically see every single policy. But in my case, like what I'm thinking about is we could have a tab that's basically like, policies that have caused issues in the last, half year / year. So the idea is that, you could have a tab where we would just list all of the policies, starting with, so that we're just, every time we go over a policy and review it, it goes into this database, and so in that way, we're just always adding to it. And every time a policy comes up for issue, we reprioritize it in the database so that we're just constantly improving on the policies.
Yeah.
And we know where they all are, right? Because like right now, one of the problems with the policies is we don't actually know where they are. I mean, obviously, we need a policy document for every single category of policy, and then every project has basically its own policy doc or policy sheet. But I think it would be good to summarize all the policies together in one place, and just basically, and then from there we can link all the other policy documents as well. But basically, to have like a summary, because some policies are quite long. It'll be like a half page to describe and understand that policy. But we could basically, cut it down to like one sentence that describes the essence of the policy, and then link or the rest of the details.
Yeah. I like the way that we were listing the policies in the steering team sessions, right? Just a quick sentence and then some links if you wanna.
No, more detailed than that, because that was just the proposal. We were just listing the proposals, not the actual policies.
Anyways, yeah, I mean, I would love to do that.
Is that something that you could get started, or should I get started?
No. I would love to get started for sure.
Okay, yeah, just create a sheet. Create a sheet and add these policies. So let's just start with the first one. So the policy is that so basically you'd have like a category, right? In this case, work coordination, right? Or workflow, whatever it is, and then the policy is basically that, or we could say the policy essence, right? Would be, and I think you could have here link to more details, right? So you could have link. So the policy essence in this case would be that all work all work is done in buddy teams, right? And workers schedule to collaborate and work together on responsibilities, even when you have self-driven responsibilities for individual work. You still do review, double and triple check, and verification as a team. For me, that's the essence of the policy. And then in addition to that, we can add that all executive and treasurer work is work that is assigned is still the responsibility of workers to schedule and follow up with reviews and collaborative work. It is against policy to expect or push executive treasurers to work by themselves. Okay. So just making it clear that the policy in regards to everybody working together also applies to executives and treasurers.
Big discussions on
then the last one
on the scheduling policies.
Say what?
Yeah, and we go. Yeah, the way that I would build it is that I start with the most recent policies, which are these ones. Then today, for example, we had the scheduling policies, and then I would go like backwards to, I don't know. I'll get started, and then I'll keep improving it every week. Can review it and everything.
But what are you talking about?
Yes, the way that I would work on this is to first list the policies, the most recent policies, right? These ones that we're talking now. Then
well, no, I'm just saying this would be the tab. Like you could have a tab that's basically policies from policies workflow that have been recently become an issue. Right. So policies that become issues would be categorized and organized in a way that people can review them easily and regularly, because these are common issues that have been occurring. Right? We also have, for example, there's the policies that are broken the most often, right? So, tab policies that are broken the most often, right? That could be another tab, right? And again, we have an entire document and a video training already on policies that are broken most often. So this would not replace that. The idea is that it would be
linked.
Yeah, we could link that from the tab, but the point is that you can watch an entire video and look at an entire document that lists everything, or you could look in 5 lines or 10 lines, 5 to 10 lines could explain all of the policies that you need to keep track of that are broken the most often. I mean, it just makes it really in a very short amount of space to be able to easily reference all of the policies. Like, that's the idea, is having the ability to reference the policies quickly and easily so that everybody has access to them in a database, where you just click on a tab. These are the policies that are broken the most often. You click on another tab. This is the database of all policies related to blah,
Yeah.
And then you're basically getting the essence of each policy in a single sentence or phrase, and then that links back to like the policy doc or the detailed information about that policy, which, I don't know if we're going to have links, but for now we can just have the policy essence,
Okay, got it.
But for me, it's just like my concern here is that we talk about this policy, but then it doesn't go anywhere, and that's the concern. So like, let's make our policies actually go somewhere, and we can start with them going to this new policy sheet. We can start that sheet with policies that have had issues get prioritized in the sheet so that you can easily see them, and then after the time goes by and there's no more issues with that policy, then we can delete it off that and just have it in the main database.
Okay.
Yeah. But I just think that it's really important that we're not just talking about their policies, that they actually go somewhere so that it's all indexed and clear. And I love this idea of the policy essence, where you basically can put each policy into one sentence and have it really clear, like what it is. And so people can actually, and then remember, all of this would eventually go into a verification process. We're going to verify that every single policy has been put into the Sensei model and the training model, where basically it has, on the voting form, you're able to vote on each policy and, give input and changes to that policy in real time. So I feel like that's super duper important, and we can utilize this database. For example, the first category can be, voting form question mark, and so you could say, has it been, put into Sensei,
Yeah, because what you said the other day was stayed in my mind. Was very strong. I mean, the best way when we have an issue or misunderstanding on a policy is just to revote on it. That's a very powerful.
No, the best way to deal with issues is to discuss them. The best way to train somebody on an existing policy that is functional is to have them vote on it.
To have them vote on it.
Yeah. But if the policy is not functional and having problems, it's not revoting on it. It is communicating like human beings and addressing the issue and figuring out what the problem is. Yeah.
Cool.
So in the context of once the problem is addressed, then you vote on it.
Yeah.
Or if you're changing the policy, because the issue will address the policy, because every issue can be solved with a policy, either understanding the policy, which means that you don't need to change it, or you change the policy to improve it. Right. So in this case, we're basically saying that there was not a problem with the policies. The problem was just understanding the policies. Yeah. And now it seems we have agreement on the existing policies, and so nothing is changing.
Yes, absolutely. It was my misunderstanding, and the policy is perfect. I couldn't think of anything to improve it.
Well, all right. So I think we're ready to move on to the next topic.
Yeah. 5-minute break. Okay.
All right. 5-minute break.